We've might have written off Quinton Johnston too soon because he's been the best player throughout training camp for the Los Angeles Chargers up to this point. In the Chargers' first 6 training camp sessions, Quinton Johnston has racked up 6 touchdowns. His hands have improved. He's been much better at tracking deep balls. And recently, this past Monday, he scored 2 touchdowns in that lone practice, including one which went for 58 yards. And everybody has been raving about how good Quinton Johnston has been. And Quinton Johnston, he's been a little bit overhated. He was a first-round pick in 2023 coming out of TCU. His career has gotten off to a slow start because when he was coming out, when you looked at him, you were thinking that you were getting the next DeAndre Hopkins. And at times, he kind of has shown the ability that he could be 70% of what D-Hop was. And the issue with Quinton Johnston isn't really skills. It's really his ability to be consistent because at times the blocking hasn't been that good. He's had concentration drops. I saw a video going viral earlier today of a big drop that he had. But with Quinton Johnston, though, maybe he's just one of those receivers that just is going to have a drop problem, and you'll take 5, 6 occasional drops for a receiver that has the potential to be really good. And last season was a big improvement from what he did in his rookie year. He had 8 touchdowns, which led the team. He had 55 catches for 711 receiving yards. You know, he showed a lot of growth despite the amount of criticism that he received. He was pretty solid in year 2. And with the recent retirement of Mike Williams, if you thought that Quinton Johnston was just going to get buried on this depth chart, he was going to go from being wide receiver 2 behind Ladd McConkey to being wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4, you might have been a little bit mistaken. You might have just given up on Quinton Johnston just a tad bit too soon, because it's not as if Quinton Johnston is just completely doo-doo. It's not as if Quinton Johnston is just unplayable. Drops are something that he does have an issue with, but that has improved according to Justin Herbert, according to the coaches. And Jim Harbaugh is one of those coaches that he can get the most out of anybody. Because when he was first coaching the San Francisco 49ers, he inherited a wide receiver named Michael Crabtree, who, like Quinton Johnston, had a really prolific college career. He had high expectations being a high draft pick. And when he got to the league, his career started off a little bit slow. But when Jim Harbaugh became the 49ers head coach, that's when you saw Michael Crabtree end up having a lot of production. Jim Harbaugh is one of those guys that on the surface, he's a hard-nosed, old-school style coach. Not in terms of being a guy that's constantly barking at you or being like a disciplinarian, but he just has an old-school mentality. And he is the definition of a player's coach. He's not one of those coaches that's going to tear you down after one bad play, after one bad drop, which is what a guy like Quinton Johnston needs. He needs somebody who's going to build him up, somebody that's going to build up his confidence. And that's what Jim Harbaugh does. And it may look like it's something that's very minuscule because, you know, coaches like that are happy-go-lucky, that instead of bringing a player down, bring him up, it's not a guarantee that those coaches end up being good. But for Jim Harbaugh, God has won everywhere he's been, has only missed the playoffs one season and several years being a head coach in the NFL. This is what works. He's a guy who is a motivator, and that's what Quinton Johnston needs. And we very well could see Quinton Johnston have a breakout season this year. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that happens because oftentimes there are guys who perform very well in training camp, and then when the season rolls around, you don't really hear nothing from them again. Quinton Johnston, though, under Jim Harbaugh, the second year in this Greg Roman offense, though, he could take a very big leap. And I've always believed that drops are an issue that can be easily fixed. You got some guys who just naturally have soft hands, and then you got some guys who, after practice, they need to hit that jug machine for an hour or two. And if Quinton Johnston just, after every training camp session, gets on that jug machine and has to catch 200 passes without dropping a single one, that's what could help him. Because drops are really the only thing that he really struggles with. He's like a big body wide receiver that kind of plays like a slot receiver. He's elusive and crafty after the catch, and he can be a really good red zone target if the hands are just a little bit more consistent. But so far, the guy has been completely setting Chargers training camp on fire, and he's been miles ahead of everybody else. I'm still waiting on some news from Trey Harris. Haven't really heard too much from him. Keandre Lambert-Smith has been really impressive so far. He's been like the second best receiver, not named Lat McConkey and Quinton Johnston. So up to this point in Chargers training camp, Quinton Johnston has been the star that everybody has been raving about, and we'll see if he'll be able to keep up this phenomenal training camp performance and if he's going to be able to carry this momentum into the regular season.